This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners, yes, you nailed it, they share their wisdom. It's short and to the point because we respect people's time and because we know transforming possibility happens super fast, like lightning fast, and it leads to lasting results. So let's get right to it. In a few sentences, Zach, tell me who you are and what you do.
Yo, what's up, Brad? Dude, I'm super stoked to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, man, I'm just a guy that pulled his head out of his tail end and started getting serious about life. And now went from the low end to the high end, I guess you would say.
That's so humble. It's so humble. I like when I go out to your Facebook and I look at the stuff that you throw out there. It's so much deeper than that, but you come off of some. You have an amazing story. So looking forward to diving in a little bit more here in this podcast.
Right on, my man. Appreciate you.
Question number 2. What's the best thing, Zach, about being in business?
For me, it's the freedom to do what I want to do. Because I have a authority issue. Like, I do not like being told what to do. And that got me into a lot of trouble in life. But now that I've grown older and wiser, it actually works with me, for me now.
I think most entrepreneurs have that, don't they?
Yeah.
Many, I don't know about all, but many certainly do. I totally relate to that. I think I've been told that most of my life, Zach, to be quite candid and honest. So I totally relate, man.
Amen to that.
I think we are the misfits to a certain extent, many of us, but it's a beautiful thing having that freedom.
Amen to that, dude. I mean, it was all throughout my life, even in school. They said I had ADD, ADHD, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that stuff, man. And it wasn't that I can't focus, but if it's something that doesn't interest me, I'm just not going to give it any energy or any attention. And yeah, it started at a very young age, and it's just always just been in my DNA.
I'm totally with you. I totally relate to that. I completely empathize with you. I mean, all those labels that many of us are given, right? And whether they're true or not true, or whether they're relevant for us or they're not relevant for us, but we walk through that and say, hey, what am I going to do? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And that's the way we create impact. So it's great. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, Zach, but let's get to question number 3. We hear from other business owners, they're getting so much business. Yes, now that the chaos is causing overwhelm sometimes for them. Would you share your thoughts on that with me, Zach?
On too much business?
Yeah. So I know you've been on a journey in your business, right? And many of us experience like this stage of growth where we're getting so much business that there's a little overwhelm or it's just chaos, or you understand what I'm saying? Like, would you just share your thoughts on how do you break through that, or what that feels like? Any thoughts you have on the chaos causing overwhelm?
Yeah. So I'm like the opposite of you. I'm like the go visionary idea. Let's do this, and this, kind of guy. And now that we have a world-class integrator on our team, Paul, which has been the biggest blessing to our company, he reins me in and he makes sure our back end's secure and that we can support the growth. That's huge. But now I've gotten more disciplined with it. Like, yeah, of course I want to grow all the time, but there's periods of maximization. That's the growth. That's when, like, whenever your systems are dialed in at your current level, then you can go and start the growth phase up again. And, you have stuff built out for that growth. And then you hit that ceiling again where it's like that chaos and stuff. And that's the time for optimization, where you peel back on the growth and all the new stuff and you optimize what you got to be able to support it. And then you start building it out for the next growth phase. And that's just a cycle of that. And that's like literally, it's not just with business. That's with working out. That's with, you can pretty much anything in life. That's how it works, is what I'm starting to see and realize myself.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I see that creative in you, in the idea in you. And from when we've been in rooms together and everything, and it's amazing. I love what you bring to the table and how you serve. I think what a lot of entrepreneurs miss is the stabilization, right? They get to like optimization. They miss this. It's like stair stepping, right? And so we plateau and then we break through and then we got to stabilize and then we scale up again. So that's amazing, man. I'm really grateful that you shared that. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Brad.
Question number 4. What other successful business owners, right like yourself, Zach, should be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Right off the top of my head, I'm going to say Thomas Keenan with the Step It Up Entrepreneur podcast, Nate Bailey, the Championship Leader podcast. He's another good guest. There's a bunch of them. I'm having like a brain fart, like I'm connected with a whole bunch, but definitely Thomas Keenan and Jason Graybeal and Steve Taylor. They're at the Business and Brews podcast, and I could keep going on and on, but those are some people you should definitely talk to.
I know. I love it because I know you have a whole long list of people in the podcast space. So I appreciate you tossing out some names, Zach. Let's get to some wisdom. What do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Let's go.
So what piece of let's do it. This is your chair, your chance to, how it's said all over the internet, like value, right? Like what piece of wisdom, I like to call it wisdom, piece of wisdom, something from your experience that you would share with other business owners, Zach?
Yeah. Surround yourself with a team of people that are smarter than you, but you still make the decisions. And how you can tell if they're smarter than you or not is if they can explain complex issues to you in a way that you can understand.
Absolutely love that. Can we talk about that a little bit more?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely love that. I think it was like, it might have been Einstein. I think people attribute Einstein. He said, if you can explain it to someone like a 3-year-old would understand, then you know it, or, and if you can't, you don't, something along those lines anyhow. And so I totally dig what you're saying. So surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. So don't be the smartest person in the room. Is what I heard you say. That's right. A piece of it. And then what I heard you say is that you know if they can explain complex issues. So if they can take really complex issues and make them simple, is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, like you'll know if they're smarter than you in a particular area, if they can, if something that's complex and something you don't understand is like an issue for you, but if they can break it down that's simple for you to understand, then they know what they're talking about.
Love it. I'd say simple is brilliant. So I'm totally with you. And so what kinds of areas do you think from your walk that has been really fruitful for you? So some really complicated subjects or areas in business that's been really fruitful for you to have some smart people around you.
Oh, systems and finance, those two areas for sure. And what's crazy though is so last year I worked heavily on the systems part, and we got our guys there, and I actually went through the disciplines of doing that myself, even though I don't build out like SOPs and figure out the details like that, because I shouldn't, that's not a wise use of my time. I grasp it enough to where I understand it and appreciate it, you know what I'm saying, in the business, and have world-class people on the team that love doing that type of stuff. And then the finance part this year, so heading into 2021, that was my glaring weakness. It used to be systems, now it's finance. But now, like, I've been so deep on the finance and stuff, and like, dude, I mean, just like a simple book, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, dude. I was like, dude, this is just simple stuff. I just never thought of money this way before, I never thought, oh, you don't you don't go into debt, you don't get a car loan out, you just pay for it in cash, and it's just like so simple, man. But yeah, man, so that's a huge area. And what I'm realizing is that, yes, it was a weakness for me heading into the year, but I think finance might actually could end up being a strength of mine soon after deliberate practice and whatnot. But yeah, I'm excited about it is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I love it. Definitely entrepreneurship is definitely something where we're learning all the time. It's never monotonous. There's no question about that. There's so many pieces to the puzzle, and we're constantly new pieces and shifting and changing and all that. what I'm fascinated by what you're sharing here is the learning, but I also heard you say something that is really, really important. And I want to highlight it, is that you alluded to operations and finance, but you also alluded to that you don't need to know all of it, that you're working with experts in the field, like world-class people. So you're understanding the workings, the broad workings or the macro workings of it, the strategy of it, also that you can pull the levers, correct? But you don't need to know the finite details. Is that what I heard you say? Because I thought there was a little nugget in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, like early on, I feel like, there's exceptions to the rule, right? But most entrepreneurs early on are gonna, if you're the visionary in your business or whatnot, you're gonna still have to do the operations in the beginning and build out the initial systems and then bringing on the right people. And so when I was at that phase, that's where I had to learn the systems part of it. When we started having a client, service-based model, and you need systems and procedures in place, or else
Yes. Sing it, Zach, sing it.
or else your life is just going to be miserable without it, and it's going to be a lot of headache and just putting out fires all day long, and that's no fun. But I had to go through that phase and learn that tough lesson, and then be able to develop the skill, and then understand, like, okay, now let's go out and get some people that love doing this part of it, and then I could still know what the system, what the process is, but I don't have to go and build out all the details. I can have it shown to me, so I know I have a high level understanding of it, and then you know your company inside and out.
I love it. I love what you're saying. This is really singing my language and speaking my language, because I love systems so much. But this isn't about me. But the automations, the integrations, like, I just love that stuff. Some people do, some people don't. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs or people who call themselves entrepreneurs, maybe if it's you listening, that don't have any systems. They don't have a sales plan. They don't have an operational plan. They don't have a discovery plan, a lead gen plan. Like, they don't have any systems. And I'm like, wow, how are you going to get to 7 figures that way? I want to highlight and showcase what you do, man. You have some amazing things going on in your business. So will you just freely share, like, tell me a little bit about your journey, man. What do you have going on, and what kind of cool ways are you serving people right now in the service business?
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, dude. It's crazy cool because right now I'm going through like a major evolution. I'm later on launching this brand that's going to be something completely different from what we're doing now. It's a completely different industry, all that, and I'm super excited about it. But I'm also still excited about what we have right now. That's really awesome that we created. But a real quick high level Cliff Notes version of it. I did over 5 years of my life in prison, being a knucklehead. Went back 20 days before my kids were born.
For everyone.
Yeah. Went back 20 days before my twin sons were born, man. And that's when I decided, hey, I'm done. I got out, became an entrepreneur, got laughed at for 3.5 years straight for trying to become an entrepreneur. And then launched a podcast, Underdog Empowerment. It took off right out the gate. I was starting to have success, but I wasn't like making, I was making like $200 to $800 a month affiliate income, and that's it. Nothing to write home about. But I was trying all these things and I just couldn't figure it out. That's the beginner part of it. And I didn't know that, hey man, you having the success with podcasts, why not help people with podcasts or whatever? And finally, I came to that realization. And so I put on an offer out to show people how to do what I was doing with a podcast. And it just took off from there in March of 2019. And we just been scaling it ever since. And we're that's our goal, is the 7-figure mark this year, which is we're on the runway with it, but I'm not gonna rest on my laurels or call it a victory yet until it's there and until it's done.
I love it. I absolutely love that. So let's shift gears for a moment. I love to ask, all just for the benefit of the listeners. I think that we entrepreneurs, we are some misfits, many of us, and we are a little rebellious. And so I love asking the questions outside of business a little bit, because I think that we work to live and not live to work, right? So what's the most fun vacation you've ever had, Zach?
Man, I've been on a lot of A lot of fun vacations. I appreciate all of them. But I'd say the funnest was right after my mom died in 2015. She died December 14th of 2015. That was 13 months after I got out of prison. So she got to see me turn my life around, which was huge. But I had been on like 2 trips since I got out. But before that, I hadn't traveled since I was a young kid, right? So I hadn't done much traveling up to this point. And we decided, because Stephanie's mom, my wife, or her mom died a couple months prior to my mom. And we decided, hey, let's pack all of our kids up in the car and drive down to Florida for New Year's. And so we did that and went to Disneyland, Disney World on New Year's Day. And we stayed at Daytona, and it was like the coolest trip ever because it was like the first one. And it was just like, yeah, man, we had a blast. And there's like that old amusement park in Daytona that we were hanging out at and had a bunch. It was, I mean, like, it was old little rides or whatever, but it was cool though. It was awesome, and the kids loved it. And yeah, that one will always be special to us.
I love it. I love it. Family time, Florida, fun together. It's great stuff. Zach, I appreciate you being here. I know you have some amazing things coming. You're working on some amazing stuff now. And so I just appreciate the investment of your time and you just showing up and just sharing time with me, my man, and with all the listeners and people watching. I really just appreciate you being here. What's the website or the podcast or the social media when somebody hears this and they're like, you know what, that guy brings it real. He's authentic. He's just, sharing from his heart. And they want to reach out to you. How can they reach out to you and how can they get you?
I appreciate that, Brad. Thank you. Definitely the podcast, Underdog Empowerment. I'd recommend that. It's on pretty much any platform that you listen to podcasts on. But to make it simple for everyone, you can just go to underdogempowerment.com. And the podcast stuff is all on the front page. All my social media is all there. It's definitely the best spot to get a hold of me.
I love it. Reach out and get them. Zach, thanks again. This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners making, you heard them right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not really all about the money. A lot of it's about sharing their wisdom and creating impact globally. Thanks for joining us.